Now we'll move on to the next paper to be presented by Professor Samani Chaitanya Pragya. She is from Jain Vishwa Bharati Institute. Madam.
Most Reverend Professor S.R. Bhatt, the chairman of IPC, the organizing committee members, esteemed scholars on dais and off dais. I am very much thankful to Professor S.R. Bhatt and also Holistic Science Research Center administration for inviting me for the endowment talk on Acharya Tulsi. As we know, Acharya Tulsi is one of the very illuminate soul and saint of Jain tradition of 20th century. He has very broad mind. He has given thought to the problems of the world, society, individual, religion, and cultural issues, and has given a new light to the world in his time. He has also propounded so many global activities for the welfare of humanity and has shown that how humanity can get light from philosophical insights. The main purpose of this IPC is how philosophy can be relevant to day-to-day life or in social life or life in general. We find that Jainism is one of the Indian philosophical systems. When we read Indian philosophy, we find that the Indian philosophy is very holistic in its approach for addressing the issues of life and the cosmic process. And Jainism has also, in particular, has addressed so many issues related to individual life and cosmic process. Acharya Tulsi has tried to put philosophy into action. He was not only interested in reading the text and giving lectures on them, but he was looking for some solution from philosophical insights and tried to solve the problems of the world of his time. So now we will see that how he has put philosophical insights into action in the form of different global ethics for addressing different issues of society, of globe. We have seen that Acharya Tulsi has given Anuvrat movement, that is a movement of minimum morality, and we find that through his movement of Anuvrat, he has addressed so many issues of the society. The first issue, next. The theme of the lecture was decided. Acharya Tulsi acted as torchbearer in evolving global ethics. So the first problem is before us, that how we can create peaceful, non-violent world order, and for that, how we can have some global ethics which can be followed by everyone, everywhere, and every time. Next. So how he addresses the problem of global crisis and give global ethics in the light of the crisis. It is a fact that humanity is faced with an unprecedented moral issues. A global ethics is essential to meet this situation. There are multiple views concerning morality, some of which are diametrical, opposed to one another, while there are some in which points of similarity may possibly be found out. If one can evolve some universal ethical code of conduct which can be practiced everywhere, we can surely avert this crisis facing the humanity. He gave fourfold global ethics. Next. He has given fourfold global ethics to combat the problem of global issues, men should not indulge in cruel actions which may deteriorate mutual relations with other human beings. Such mutual human actions will solve the problem of economic disparity. Men should not be cruel even to the subhuman species so that problems of ecology may not become intricate. Not only this, man should also avoid cruelty towards the immobile living beings of earth, water, and vegetable kingdom so as to avoid indiscriminate destruction of earth, water resources, and vegetable kingdom. By doing so, we can save the environment from being polluted and future generation from the dearth of natural resources. The fourth ethics he has given, man must observe proper restraint towards insentient world so that the harmony between the sentient and insentient worlds may be properly maintained. So this is, we call fourfold global ethics which he has given to combat the problem of global crisis. Next. Now we have another problem which is a global transformation and how he has given insight to get global transformation through social and individual transformation. According to him, non-absolutism and relativism of truth, we do not hold the individual and the society absolutely different from each other. The individual influences the society and vice versa. We cannot think of any global transformation by holding them absolutely separate. We believe that change in the individual and the society should go simultaneously. Change in the individual takes place through the change of heart or through change of mind. So far, efforts for social change have been made by giving all importance to the society and absolutely ignoring the individual. This is the main reason for the failure of the socialist and communist models. Similarly, those efforts which have been made to change the individual, neglecting the society, have also not succeeded, as in the realm of religion. For global transformation, it is essential that the aim of change in an individual should be in the center, while the process of change in the society should also go in the periphery. Only this approach to global change can be hoped to become successful. The next question appears before him regarding the problem of global culture, how it can be built. Addressing this issue, he says, in the modern world, the concept of development has been unfortunately identified with industrial and economic development alone, with which I disagree, as Acharya Tulsi said. In my humble opinion, development is holistic and integral, comprising of both material and spiritual aspects. Both evaluation of development, both these aspects should be considered. According to Jain literature, the material development is an essential social need. Hence, both spiritual and moral development are essential parts of social life. One-sided development causes multiple crises. Man wants to earn interest, but due to his short-sightedness, he even loses his capital. He aspires for pleasure, but becomes victim of pain. Self-restraint, compassion, and integrity are the main factors to meet the challenges of lopsided development. The Anuvrat presents the code of conduct for the practice of these factors. It can be made the basis for the development of global culture. Next. Now, when the environmental issues come before him, he addresses these issues and has given some insight to resolve the problem of environmental problems. He said that the crisis of environment is not a real. The real crisis is rooted in cosmocentric trained, consumeristic trained in modern man. Unless we change this lifestyle rooted in consumerism, no solution to the environmental crisis is possible. For example, we keep the doors of our house open during a dust storm. The entry of garbage cannot be prevented, and all efforts for cleanliness will be vain. On the one hand, we are concerned about the pollution of our environment, and on the other, we are aspiring for commercial gain at the cost of environmental health by supplying the commodities which result in increased pollution, such as refrigerators, air conditioners, large-scale industries, nuclear power stations, etc. They are responsible for harming the ozone layer and dreadful pollutions to the environment. To this problem, Jainism advocated self-restraint in consumerism of such commodities and voluntary limitations of want. If these principles are universally accepted and propagated, the consumeristic tendency of man will change. In this changed situation, man is bound to use such a technology which would create healthy life. This changed tendency will lead man to use his technological knowledge for healthy life. There will be no more misuse of technology to strengthen the unhealthy lifestyle. So this way, he has addressed the problem of environment. Now the next is crisis of religious and cultural diversities. He addresses this problem and says, religious and cultural diversities are no problems in themselves. Difference in thoughts helps freedom of thought and creativity. Problems arise when we become one-sided and obstinate and insist only one's own thought. Let us adopt and assimilate the thoughts of other religions and cultures as alternative standpoints. Then there will be the no problem. The neglect of non-absolutistic attitude and the non-adoption of the alternative standpoints in our life have led to this problem of religious and cultural fundamentalism. Now non-absolutism and theory of alternative standpoints deserve deep attention. It is natural that many controversies arise where there is a multi-religious and multicultural society. The best way to solve the problem is to work out a reconciliation without which there is always a scope for conflict. Let us discover the principle of reconciliation and harmony between the different cultures and create conditions for peaceful coexistence. Next. Technique for the reconciliation of faiths. We have multiple faiths in India, and how we can reconcile with each other, how we can develop mutual understanding between one religion and other. So he addresses this issue and says, mutual understanding is the greatest need for fraternity among different faiths. Probably efforts for mutual understanding have not been adequately made, and therefore we have little success in this field. We have evolved a 5-point formula to make it practical and universally acceptable. Constructive approach should be adhered to instead of entering into polemics and criticism of others. One should have tolerance for others' views. One must not propagate hatred or contempt against the members of other faiths. If a person voluntarily changes his religious faith, he should not be socially boycotted or penalized, and there should be collective efforts to assimilate the fundamentals of religion in life. So this is the way he addressed this issue. The next is, what is the speciality of Jain view to reconciliation of different faiths? Here he says that from the point of view of interfaith harmony, the Jain doctrine of standpoints, which is called Naivad, is its most important contribution. There are diverse views and so are the standpoints. Every standpoint becomes true when it is stated relatively. This is the rightest and widest approach to understand the thoughts of others, and it forms a strong base for reconciliation between diverse faiths. One must try to understand others' viewpoints. The Nai approach is at most necessary to resolve the sectarian discord. Without this, the idea of reconciliation would become totally impossible. In comparison to others, the Jain philosophy understands others' viewpoints more sympathetically and perhaps more impartially That is why the Jain philosophers have never adopted a negative approach but made strong efforts to reconcile the views of other faiths and philosophers. Next. Now the karma theory also plays very important role in our spiritual and religious transformation. So he's giving a unique idea, unique insight regarding the concept of theory of karma. When he was asked karma theory, how karma theory plays an important role for our religious and spiritual transformation. Then he says that theory of karma is the lifeblood of Jainism. Some non-Jain thinkers believe that whatever one has in his life is due to his karma, and he must reap the fruits of his action. Thus, according to them, karma is an inexorable law of life. But the theory of karma in Jainism is quite different from this. It is non-absolutistic. According to it, karma is amenable to change. Therefore, the Jain theory of karma includes the principles of predestined exhaustion, transformation, amalgamation, augmentation, and depletion. It is only through this that the transformation of personality mainly becomes possible, and subsidiarily the changes in the circumstances are also possible. Therefore, the theory of karma is extremely relevant in the context of transformation of nature and personality of man, as well as in enhancing the processes of external development. The theory of karma is absolutely essential to understand the principles of behavioral psychology, depth psychology, and analytical psychology. Non-absolutism and relativism, which are very important, or we can say cardinal principles of Jainism to understand truth in a greater perspective. When he was asked about the relevance of non-absolutism and relativism in present day context, he answers that to ask about the relevance of non-absolutism and relativism is itself irrelevant, because it is evident that it is the absolutistic approach that has polluted and distorted the present social, economic, and political problems. In fact, we should ask a counter question: how far is absolutism relevant today? The relativism in practice is the only alternative if we want to avoid imperialism of thought and fanaticism in behavior. In the ancient times, wars were fought in the open battlefield. Today, war is being fought on ideological and economic grounds. To restrain the ideological and socio-economic conflicts, a non-absolutistic and relativistic temper is the only practical means. Hence, non-absolutism is not only at most relevant but also extremely needed, and there is no alternative to it. The problems confronting us today are multidimensional and interrelated, hence there can't be any right solution. The only possible solution can be worked out through non-absolutistic attitude. So he has given very scientific, very social interpretation of the philosophical insights, which are very deep and mostly discussed in metaphysical perspective. Relativism in context of ethics. Many times people ask that Jainism believes in non-absolutism. It perceives truth from different angles in different contexts. What is true in one context may not be true in other context. So this non-absolutism also applies to ethics or not. So this question is very, very crucial and must be very much clear to the mind of the intellectuals and also a layman. So here Acharya Tulsi has given very good answer. Absolutism holds good only in the field of ontology, but it is altogether wrong to apply either relativism or absolutism for reflection in the realm of ethics. If we use these terms relativism or absolutism in the realm of ethics, they will not refer to the reality of existence, but they will imply only a particular aspect of our bhav chetna, that is the state of our consciousness, pertaining to the inner attitude. Thus, in the realm of ethics, it is the inner attitude that counts. The criterion for considering any action of a person as moral or ethical is his inner spirit. Hence, it can safely be said that morality is not relative to space, time, and circumstances, but it is related to the state of one's inner consciousness. How much time we have?
Good time. You have completed your
Okay.
time. So if you conclude, that's okay.
Okay.
Take 1 minute. to
Okay.
conclude.
Okay. So there are so many other issues regarding the meditation, how meditation plays an important role for social transformation, for individual transformation, and for spiritual excellence. So that I'm not going into detail. Next slide. Power of prayer, that is also addressed by him, and he has given very good answer how prayer can play important role in our transformation of individual life. Yes, next. There is a religious, ethical, moral, and medical aspect of vegetarianism. It is a Jain practice, and there are some other communities which are also practice vegetarianism. So how it is beneficial from all these angles, that has also been addressed by him. I have put one booklet on these issues and the answers given by Acharya Tulsi on the store, what we say, table. So anybody can get the copy and can read how he addresses all these issues. Next. Okay, continued. Next. He also addresses the problem of exploitation which is going on in the society, and he has given some solution how we can get exploitation-free society. For that, he has also given some minimum mode of conduct which can be followed by everyone without any concern of caste, creed, and color, etc. So that has been also given. So now I am coming to the end of the concluding remarks to my lecture, that Acharya Tulsi has given. He was a saint of Jain Therapantha sect, even though he was not bound with the sectarian boundaries. He crossed the boundaries and addressed many more issues which are related to mankind, humankind, and the world, and has given very good insight on the basis of his philosophical studies, knowledge which he had about Jainism and all Indian philosophical systems. So I'm very much thankful for providing me this opportunity to give endowment talk on Acharya Tulsi and his contribution for global ethics. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor, for your very nice presentation. We are grateful to you for your presentation.